DNA fingerprinting. A crime has been committed in the local Harris Teeter. To be exact, a robbery took place over the last can of chicken noodle soup. It happened on aisle 3, and a witness said that the robber knocked over an old lady and bolted out of the store. Luckily, a hair was dropped at the crime scene, but now we need a way to analyze whose hair it is. Too bad a superhero didn't come to save the day, but we have our own superhero, genetics. To analyze the hair, we will first use PCR to amplify the DNA. Once the DNA has been amplified, we can run it through gel electrophoresis. This will allow us to separate the fragments of the DNA from smallest to largest, with the smallest pieces traveling both the fastest and farthest on the plate. Now that we have run the DNA through both PCR and gel electrophoresis, we can determine who the robber is by seeing whose DNA matches that of sample 1, the hair. There are 4 suspects who were all seen at the grocery store earlier that day, 2 of which were related as the father and son were seen shopping together. From locus 1, we can see that suspect 2 and 3 are the father and son duo as they share a common fragment of DNA. Since children are made from DNA from both their mother and father, the child will have one fragment that is the same as their parent, and that is how we know they are related. Looking at the loci, we are now trying to match and eliminate suspects by matching with sample 1. Every column of DNA starts with a similar control piece at the top to indicate that the experiment worked, so all samples have this in common. At loci 1, we can tell that the witness's DNA does not match and is therefore not the owner of the hair at the crime scene. Since neither of the fragments match the piece, we can rule out the witness. We cannot rule out suspect 1 as both fragments match those of the hair sample, making suspect 1 a person of interest. Suspect 2 has one piece of DNA that matches while the other does not match. Since only one piece matches, we can rule out suspect 2 as both fragments have to match that of the hair sample. Moving on to suspect 3, we cannot rule them out either since both pieces of DNA match the hair sample, making suspect 3 another person of interest. Lastly, we can also rule out suspect 4 since only one piece of DNA matches the hair. Just like suspect 2, suspect 4 cannot be the robber. Moving on to loci 2, we can rule out the witness, suspect 2, and suspect 4 since they did not match the hair sample at loci 1. We know that they are not the robber. Comparing the hair sample of loci 2 to suspect 1, we see that neither of the pieces of DNA match the hair sample, meaning that suspect 1 is no longer a person of interest and can be considered innocent. That leaves suspect 3. Suspect 3's DNA is again another complete match to the hair sample, so now we can confirm that suspect 3 was the robber. Using genetics helped us to solve the crime against the little old lady. While she was getting the medical attention she needed, suspect 3 was being arrested for trying to get food for his son.